Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. The Rams NFL settled St. Louis's lawsuit over franchise relocation to Los Angeles for $790 million. The NFL and Rams owner Stan Kroenke will pay $790 million to settle a lawsuit filed by St. Louis interests over the team's relocation to Los Angeles. A joint statement from St. Louis City and County said Wednesday the settlement does not include a promise from the NFL to grant St. Louis an expansion franchise in the future. A source familiar with the agreement told espn, confirming a report by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, that idea wasn't seriously discussed. The source told espn it wasn't immediately clear how much would be paid by Kroenke and how much would be covered by owners of the league's 31 other teams. This historic agreement closes a long chapter for our region, securing hundreds of millions of dollars for our communities while avoiding the uncertainty of trial and appellate process, read a statement from St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones and St. Louis County Executive Sam Page. St. Louis area officials haven't yet determined how the settlement funds will be used, the statement said. An NFL spokesman in a brief statement said the league and the St. Louis interests have been able to fully resolve the dispute. The settlement reached in mediation ends a 4.5-year-old lawsuit filed in the wake of the Rams' departure. Kroenke and the NFL had failed in bids to have the lawsuit dismissed or at least moved out of St. Louis, and courts were sympathetic to the St. Louis side's effort to disclose financial information of team owners. Rulings that hastened the push for a settlement. The case had been scheduled to go to trial January 10th. The lawsuit sought more than $1 billion. It claimed the team's move cost the St. Louis region millions of dollars in amusement, ticket and earnings, and tax revenue. My bad, y'all. Where was I? Yeah, the case had been scheduled to go to trial January 10th. The lawsuit sought more than $1 billion. It claimed the team's move cost the St. Louis region millions of dollars in amusement, ticket, and earnings tax revenue. Then owner Georgia Frontier moved the Rams from Los Angeles in '95 to her hometown of St. Louis, where they stayed for 21 seasons before Kroenke moved them back. Kroenke, a Missouri real estate developer who is married to an heir of the Walmart fortune, go figure, became a minority owner when the team first came to St. Louis. Frontier died in 2008 and left the team to her children, who sold the Rams to Kroenke in 2010. It wasn't long after that the Rams began pushing for hundreds of millions of dollars in improvements to the downtown Dome Stadium, built with taxpayer money in the early 1990s to attract an NFL team. St. Louis interests initially proposed a more modest upgrade, then eventually proposed a new $1 billion stadium along the Mississippi River that would be funded jointly by taxpayers, the team, and the NFL. The league and the team balked. Instead, Kroenke purchased land in Inglewood, California. SoFi Stadium opened in September 2020 and is now home to both the Rams and the Los Angeles Chargers, who moved from San Diego in 2017. What up, Chance? Beyond losing the NFL team, St. Louis residents were incensed by Kroenke's 29-page application to relocate ahead of the January 2016 owners meeting where the move was approved. The document was critical of St. Louis for its decline in population, questioned the region's economic future, and called into question whether it could support baseball's Cardinals and hockey's Blues as well as an NFL franchise. The 2017 lawsuit filed on behalf of St. Louis County, and the St. Louis Regional Convention And sports complex authorities said Kroenke, other team officials in the league knew as early as 2013 that the Rams planned to relocate but lied in denying it. The lawsuit said the league ignored its own relocation guidelines in allowing the move. The NFL, Rams, and Kroenke said the guidelines aren't ironclad, and the league had the right to approve a move that was clearly in the interests of the NFL and the owners of its 32 teams. The settlement comes after a string of in-court losses for Kroenke and the NFL. America's most popular and lucrative sport league, St. Louis Circuit Judge Christopher McGraw ruled in July that there was sufficient evidence that Kroenke and others engaged in fraud, so he ordered NFL owners to release financial records. The purpose was to allow a jury to consider punitive damages if Kroenke and the NFL lost the lawsuit. Lawyers for NFL officials called the request for records invasive, but the Missouri Supreme Court in September upheld the lower court order. The NFL and Kroenke had also sought to move the trial out of St. Louis, citing undue influence over prospective jurors, but McGraw denied the request in August, a decision later backed up by a Missouri appeals court. Kroenke and NFL also sought unsuccessfully to have the case heard in arbitration rather than in court. So basically, that's what happens when you just take a team from where they're at and think everything's going to be all honky-dory. Now, St. Louis and everything, for them to take that team from there like they did was real messed up because the taxpayers was paying the money. To me, the money that St. Louis got back, they ought to give that to the people who are the taxpayers. They ought to break that money up and give it to them, but we know that's not going to happen. They're going to take that money and put it into an infrastructure that has nothing to do with the lower income families or those who are in need of those finances. So we know it's going to happen. So it's like they won their money, but now it's like, what you going to do with it now that you have no team? But you know, it is what it is with that situation. Let's see. In another story, the Bronx woman used obituaries to rob houses as people attended funerals. The Bronx woman was sentenced to spend at least 11 years in prison for burglarizing homes in New York while families were attending funerals for relatives. LaTanya Stewart, who's 30 years old, was found guilty last month of burglarizing 6 homes between 2017 and 2018. Hold on. A judge sentenced her on Monday. Stewart had faced a sentence ranging from 3.5 years to a maximum of 15 years in state prison on each burglary count. So, yeah, maximum 15 years in state prison on each burglary count. She received a 10-year sentence on each count to run concurrently. In addition, she received a 1 to 3 year sentence to run consecutively to the 10-year sentence. Between December 2017 and May 2018, Stewart burglarized the homes of 6 Westchester County residents in Cortlandt, Greenburgh, Ossining, Rybrook, Scarsdale, and Tarrytown, who were out of the house attending their spouse's wake or funeral service. Stewart targeted the homes after searching through online obituaries. Jewelry, watches, silverware, and other valuables were stolen. Stewart used a sledgehammer to break windows and glass doors to get into some of the homes. On May 1st, 2018, Greenberg police arrested Stewart after seeing her driving away from the home of a deceased person with jewelry in her car and the website with an obituary pulled up on her phone. Following her arrest, police recovered more stolen items and burglar tools in her car and at her Bronx home. It is absolutely appalling that people mourning the loss of a loved one were specifically targeted and taken advantage of in such a cruel and heinous manner, Westchester County District Attorney Miriam Roca said. Now, you have to be one heartless ass bastard to go rob people while they're mourning the loss of somebody in their family. That is cold as hell. That's just heartless. That's just unfathomable how she just did this. No remorse or anything. This just shows you, man, the world we live in is very, very, very crazy, deranged. Some people, they probably grew up in an environment where that was told to be okay to do. And that's sad. Like, people are at a funeral mourning somebody they lost. And now they got to come home and fill out a police report because stuff has been taken. That's not cool at all, man. That's very, very, very bad. And, it's just disrespectful. Like, how do you have the gall to do that? You must have had no soul. Because that's bad karma. Very bad karma. Now, I talked about this already, but I'm doing it again. Malcolm X's daughter, Malika Shabazz, was found dead in a Brooklyn home. I did something on that. Basically, they said that she was found inside of her home, dead and stuff. And Bernice King, which was the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr., basically said she was saddened by the death of Malika Shabazz. And her death comes just days after two men were exonerated in the 1965 assassination of civil rights icon Malcolm X after a nearly 2-year-long reinvestigation. Muhammad Aziz, now 83 and previously known as Norman Butler, spent 22 years in prison before he was paroled in 1985. A co-defendant who also maintained his innocence, Khalil Islam, died in 2009. So, from me talking to people, this is very sad and everything, but from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are calling foul play on this. This is allegedly. Some are saying that it's just too coincidental to how she just passed away like this. Some people are saying it's inside. You know how you got some of those people who are theorists, conspiracy theorists and everything, and how they look into it. Me, I just feel like she probably passed away because she was old. Just passed away. It just happened. So she just fell into a deep sleep and just never woke up. But we got to take into account everything that everyone says and puts out there. So that's the news for today. Basically, just giving y'all a little news of what's going on. The third annual BIH Award, I will hold that later on sometime in the probably this weekend. I'll probably do it. It's a lot of people who's getting awards. Especially, man, LeBrownies, man. How you gonna kick a fan out of her seat? Have her removed because she called you soft. Man, y'all love these dudes. But thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you love what you hear, you can donate to the page by Cash App me at the word welcome, the number 2, HDeezy. Thank y'all for listening. We out. HDeezy.